Hey, what's going on, everybody? I was down here in the basement cleaning out some boxes, looking at some of my treasures, and this is where I've grabbed some things like little animal figures and stuff that I've left for Bigfoot, just out of, my collection over the years of things that I thought were interesting. And I was going through all of this stuff, and one thing that I found was this little alien guy. And I thought, he's holding a baseball bat, it looks like. But I wonder what would happen if I put that out there. I'm just wondering if he would be intimidated, if he would know. I mean, he flinged my little brass guy. That thing's gone. I just wonder. I mean, I pretty much kind of quit communicating with him through the figurines, but I wonder what it would do. I wonder what potential space people, you know what I mean, star people could be. I want to know what that means. And people say there are good and bad gray aliens, but it's kind of a weird thing to think about. I've delved probably deeper, maybe not deeper, but pretty damn deep into the alien phenomenon. I mean, really deep, studying this stuff way before I got into Bigfoot. And I'd been studying aliens, since the 90s, since I was a kid anyway. So it's all very interesting to think about. But, who's taking the Bigfoot, Who is taking the Sasquatch up? I want to know about that craft. I need to hike up to that area across the way or take a drone up there. Talking to a guy I work with that has this drone. And when the days get longer, we can try to do it. But he's telling me how he's going to be in a high position so that the signal will stay the same. Because if he goes over the top of the mountain, it might not work. So, I mean, we're fathoming ways to get there. But he's thinking about it with me, which shows that this might happen. So, all for the future. But kind of a cool thing to think might happen, just in the continued research of trying to understand what these things do, where they're going, who's helping them besides me get a bite to eat, you know what I mean, get ahead. Not like they can't help themselves, but it's like feeding the wild animals and then finding out they got a fucking buffet and everybody knows their name down the street. It's like, how are aliens picking up Sasquatch voluntarily? You got to be doing something good for the Sasquatch to get it to interact with you, which is why I leave it chocolate and sweets and treats and things that I think it might enjoy, just because it's a respect thing, and it's because this is a very delicate dynamic that I'm trying to evolve and push forward with baby steps. I'm not trying to leap into it. I could, and I have been out there when he's eating, like real close, but I'm not trying to trick him. I'm trying to have the agreed upon interaction. So I wonder what's going on with agreed upon interaction between Sasquatch and the star people. What is the dynamic between that? Like I said, I don't want to press the envelope, so to speak, by putting this little figurine out there, but I don't know what it would do. Maybe I would take everything off of that stump and put this little thing out there and see what it did, and probably it would just knock it over or do something funny with it like it always does. But it crossed my mind, and maybe I'll get there. I haven't been uploading a lot of the Bigfoot gifting experiments, but he has been coming. But it's been, since it's been snowing the last couple months, I kind of slowed it down. I could go back in my video archives, and I have all the video of every day that I'm feeding it and what the reactions are, but it's hard to piece it together sometimes. I get so many videos and pictures, and then when I do it in my iMovie thing, it just I have to remember which movie, which movie's what, and if I filmed something twice that I didn't mean to delete, or I meant to delete, and I accidentally put it in the video. I think I've done that before, so I just got to be careful on the editing. And when I stay off of it and I don't do it like right, all the time, then it makes the editing even more difficult because I forget what the hell I did, and I got to rewatch 2 hours of video to figure out where to cut it in the middle and which, clips to put together, because I've got 50, 60 videos, and then it becomes like way too much work, which it is now, which is why I'm just giving an update and kind of talking about that there and trying to figure out what's going on, where he goes. And by the way, I don't think they're with the star people all the time now, but it seems like I always look out now for that light if I'm awake, but I go to bed pretty early. But I saw it about 9 o'clock at night, 9:15 or so. So always looking at the clarity of that crystal peeking through your window. Ah! That's a beautiful crystal. I need to bring that up. This thing's sitting in the basement. I have a lot of rocks, I'll tell you what. All right. I'll give you a quick overview real quick. I found this little piece of tourmaline, Glade Park, Colorado, sticking out of the matrix, out of the stone. I chipped it off with a knife, about broke that knife, getting this as a souvenir. It's got nice ridges in it. On one of the faces, there it is. That's a piece of tourmaline. There's a bigger chunk of tourmaline. Got a bunch of little things in there. Petrified wood. Cool little silver cobra snake. Stuff I found. Silver galena in the corner. That's galena before they process it to make silver. Obsidian. It's petrified dinosaur poop, I think. Some kind of petrified poop, it looks like. That's a shell I dug up when the river diverted, the creek diverted, and it was washing a bunch of shale. Found a bunch of this stuff and started just digging and pulling. I didn't have any tools. I did it all by hand with sticks. Got some big fossil specimens. And these are some meteors that I found. That's where it hit the ground, sizzling in the sand. Found this one. Came out the red dirt. But same thing, you could see where they impacted. Plucked them right out. In here I got a piece that's, this is where lightning struck the sand. Found that, I was running in this cowboy. Only kid who could keep up with me in this hiking class. We would run down the whole trail, I mean, this kid could run in cowboy boots. Couldn't believe it. And he stopped in a dead run and picked that up and gave it to me. This kid named James, he was friggin' cool. But I got good memories with stuff that I found. Got this in North Carolina on the beach. Botryoidal formation. I found that when I was a teenager. I still got a piece of coal I found hiking years ago. Perfectly round, near perfect rock. Stuff I got, Indian wooden boxes, Wyoming jade. Just my little treasure collection. So now we're still wondering what's up with the alien, you know? The real treasure is communicating with Sasquatch, though. I don't really need all these figures, but I used this as part of the confirmation, you know, to see, like, raccoons aren't playing with the plastic birds and throwing them back in a jar. Raccoons aren't manipulating the figurines in such a way, you know. You have to do these things to, like, confirm that, because people think raccoons are coming to my gifting area all the time, and it's hard to convince them otherwise, you know. And I gotta say, raccoons don't eat lollipops, you know. Raccoons, this and that. There's no raccoon noises on the audio, you know. But it's once you finally realize, you know, Bigfoot is coming, it's rather amazing. But I live in an interesting spot here where strange stuff happens. I saw some fireballs go across the sky one time. I saw one, and I'm like, it went across the valley over the mountaintop, and I'm waiting for like a forest fire to spark. This is at like 1 or 2 in the morning, midnight, something like that. It was really late. I was looking out the window, and I'm like, holy shit. So I watched the whole thing, and then I got freaked out. I sat there, I just waited, and maybe more than an hour later, I saw the exact same thing and the exact same trajectory. And I mean, I'm talking like a Volkswagen bus going across the sky with a classic fireball, like you'd see in a cartoon, like this ball on fire with a fire tail, like flaming like a comet, but it's not at free fall speed. It's going across the valley and disappears over the mountaintops. And I'm like, I thought it was Project Bluebeam after the second time I saw it. I'm like, that can't be real. It's like, first I thought it was, I'm waiting for the fire, and nothing happens, and I'm just thinking, what the fuck? And it was so weird. But Lockheed Martin is south of here, you know, military contractors doing government work. You just never know who's around with what technology. It's not a joke. The stuff's out there, and there's a lot of military in Colorado, and those are the guys with the know. Those are the ones working with Grays and underground military bases. You know, it gets friggin' deep. They framed Stan Romanek, who had UFOs looking in his window, and it's a real sad story. But if you watch the Stan Romanek story, there's a documentary on YouTube. I think that's what it's called. It's something like that. This guy was getting abducted and having hybrid alien children, and one came and they got it on video. She talks to him at his conference, and when the camera is turned to her, she talks for a few seconds and then runs out of the room, and this girl looks weird. And it's a half alien, half human. I mean, there's like some really hardcore shit going on, but it's fucked up that they frame people, and it's fucked up that the truth is hidden. And, you know, once you reach that level of understanding, how can you go back and just think everything's okay, you know? It's not. It's like Bigfoot and the Star People. It's got me wondering, what the fuck are they doing? How are they helping them? What's going on with all that? It really has me wondering. What's really going on out there with the Bigfoot phenomenon, with the aliens, with the government for that matter. What do they know? What are they trying to stop? What are they allowing to happen? What can't they stop? You got to think about it in terms like that. But it's not like I got friggin' jets screaming around here stopping UFOs like Colorado Bigfoot is filmed up there in the mountains. I mean, that's some interesting shit, but it goes on. And I've seen strange technology in Denver. I'll just tell you that. I've seen strange shit in the sky. I think I saw cloaking one time where I saw like 2 jets. It seemed like these little jets. They were like as big as my truck or something, but they looked like F-16s, and they were flying in the sky, and the people in the other cars around us were noticing them, and we were all looking up, and you could hear like the noise of a jet, and then all of a sudden the 2 disappeared, and this other bigger jet like uncloaked, and it was flying so low, and then all of a sudden it was like whoosh, and it went flying away like super fast. But like, I was looking at the people in the cars around me, and they were all freaking out, looking at me, looking at each other like, what the hell are we seeing? Like, and I think those are examples of the government or people even that live around here that have the technology coming out and saying, watch this, I'm just going to fuck with the population right here and just boom, do it. And that's kind of what's happening, but that's a true story. I was with my buddy at the time I was in the passenger seat, but friggin' Was I driving her in the passenger seat? I think I was in the passenger seat. Anyway, because I had a pretty good view of it looking up. And, yeah, that was friggin' quite a memory anyway. Seeing that and hearing that and trying to figure out with my friend, what did we see? It took a while to, talking about it, going, how the fuck did we see two? And then they disappeared, and then that one big one was there, and then it's like, okay, this is, you just kind of just gotta fathom and theorize what the fuck's going on out there. But fucking crazy world, dude. Even living in Colorado with all the fucking public shootings and fucking murders that happen. Like, I'm talking about government-sponsored Columbine and the fucking shooting in Boulder. Those were all fucking government-sponsored shootings. That one in Boulder, a judge fucking denied a fucking assault weapons ban for Boulder County. And then a week later, boom, 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 they go murder some people at the grocery store. It's fucking scary what's out there, Humans are almost more scary than Bigfoot and aliens. At times. That's why you got to familiarize yourself with this and realize and learn, is this comfortable? Is this okay? Are these guys gonna hurt us? I don't want to get abducted. Is Bigfoot getting abducted? And what's really going on with all that? You really got to wonder. Like, there's more than just these guys. There's human aliens. If you're not familiar with Billy Meyer and what's going on in Switzerland, the CIA's tried to kill this guy many times. But I mean, there's some bold claims by him, but the predictions that have been given to him, there's interesting definitions of prediction and prophecy that they give. But the point is, he's pretty much predicted the future thousands of times now with scientific discoveries and scientific confirmations. And 20 years in advance, saying in this year, this is going to be discovered. This will be discovered in the solar system, in outer space, and science will realize this, and blah, blah, blah. And these things have came true. So he's being given this information by off-planet human aliens, essentially. So they look very human, and they're going to try to cover it up and slander this guy, and they've tried to make it look like he's faking, and they've tried to make, bring people against him. That's what they do to anybody in the Bigfoot movement. They've got people going, yeah, right, this, that, tell too much truth, they fucking dox you, they'll fucking come through. And I'm telling you, I've had people call my family and try to fucking get me fired from my job before, just over some shit, trying to defend MK Davis, where it's like, just, there's some heinous shit going on, I'll tell you that, at the conferences. And it's all being ran by these fucking double agents that know the truth and that know their position, and that they're holding on to their shit by any means necessary. It's just like the government won't give up, the criminals won't give up control of the government. They'd rather sabotage the car than ever pull over and allow you to get your vehicle back. They've carjacked you, they've hijacked you, and they're going to use this vehicle called America as a weapon of rampage against the world, as they've been doing and as they're accustomed to for over 200 years now. Ever since the Civil War, the Jesuits have been firmly in control of this country, firmly embedded, I should say. And even they've been, I've got an upload. There's some other potential assassinations on some American presidents that before television and before electricity, pretty much went on, and the culprits were these Jesuit double agents, and the doctors even infecting the president and trying to make them die after they've been attacked. And there's just some interesting stories about that. But Lincoln knew about the Jesuits, and they wanted to kill him in Baltimore, they said, but they missed him on the train, is what Eric Phelps talks about. But they've been after this guy forever. They've been after this country. They were the whole Civil War. They were bribing Jefferson Davis and the South to secede and trying to divide this country. That's how you get North and South Korea. That's how you get East and West Germany. That's the MO of these people. Divide and conquer your country. They put the enemy right together with you. They weaponize cultures and then put them against each other so that they can rule in the meanwhile. It's very complex, but once you realize the system of Romanism, of the Jesuitism, it repeats itself, and you can see it, and you can understand it. But it takes years of study, which I've done, not watching TV, listening to the teachers, listening to the martyrs who have been murdered for this information, like William Cooper, Phil Schneider, Fritz Springmeier, and others. I'm not sure how Fritz died, actually. Can't recall, but he was imprisoned by the government and framed by the government for supposedly knowing about a bank robbery that he was never involved in, that it was a whole conspiracy in order to get charges brought against him. But that's what they'll do. They'll break into your house like they did with Stan Romanek, put something on your computer, and then put you in prison for the rest of your life. So don't let it happen. Stay grounded. Understand the criminals need to be removed. But who's helping us? Who's helping us? Who's helping us? Listen to that Billy Meyer information. It's very, very interesting. But on that note, still wondering about Bigfoot and the aliens, and still keeping an eye out to the skies. Always got a camera in my pocket, and I try to not forget that. Should get a dash cam, but I don't want my driving to incriminate myself, you know what I mean? But all right then, y'all have a wonderful day. Talk to you later.